Na kogo ja się patrzę?
Na mnie. Hello, this is the third day of the World Media Economics and Management 2025 conference. My name is Monika Korzeń-Dębecka, and this is my privilege and honor to welcome in our studio Professor Tadeusz Kowalski, the pillar of the Faculty of Journalism, Information and Book Studies, University of Warsaw. Great to have you with us,
Please
Professor.
don't exaggerate with this pillar.
Pillar.
Thank you.
Okay,
Welcome.
let me introduce you to our viewers. You are a media expert, specializes in media economics, media management and social media, former Council of Europe expert on pluralism and communication technologies, director of the National Film Archive, and since 2022, member of the Polish National Broadcasting Council. Oof, I managed to do this. Okay, let's start with the first question. How do you assess, Professor, the condition of the Polish media system, especially in the context of artificial intelligence?
Well, generally I think that we have a very pluralistic media system, very competitive. If you look into different segments of market, we see that there is a quite competitive and the competition is quite strong. Of course, the question you are asking very detailed about the artificial intelligence is something which is before us, because at the moment we can say that the artificial intelligence is developing and we don't know what will be the consequences of use it in a longer term. What I know, being one time on the conference which was organized on as the regulatory platform authorities, we met in Cyprus, there was a very interesting paper about the use of generated artificial intelligence in media in Austria. And there was an information that close to 2/3 of Austrian media units were using artificial intelligence in the operation. But if we look into the value chain of media, we see that there are places where absolutely artificial intelligence can support media. I think about the searching, documentation, distribution, making shortage. This kind of work is of course very good. But the problem which I see in Polish media and which appears also in the context of the experiment which was done by the Radio Kraków was how far we can go with this artificial intelligence. The problem is that some of the journalists, and maybe they have right, is afraid that they will be replaced by the artificial intelligence. And that makes a certain problem for them. Of course, I guess that lots of editorial offices in different media, they use artificial intelligence. Not a lot of them inform about this. This is something which is to some extent hidden practice. They do it, but they don't talk about it. So at the moment, what we know that artificial intelligence is not used in a manner or form which is very visible to the public. For example, yesterday there was a short presentation from Kazakhstan, and they informed as one of the form of their success that they used a real person to present weather. And this person agreed to be transferred into avatar, and as a person for which they have lots of data of pictures and sound, she simply as an avatar is reading and presenting weather. So they don't see any problem. I suppose that we are in Poland on the next stage, and we are discussing about this, and maybe there is no at the moment acceptance for such a practice.
Yeah, I agree with you. I conducted 3 in-depth interviews with the managers of TVP, TVN and Polsat 1 month ago, and they are a little bit cautious about the AI. I was talking with Brygida Grysiak and Przemysław Białkowski, and they are starting to use it, but still they are cautious about using this kind of technology on TV, on TV, of course. Let's come back to the second question. Where are we currently in terms of media management? How does politics affect it? What can be done to ensure politics does not harm it in this area, or is it wishful thinking that politics won't hurt media, especially this public sphere?
During this conference, I presented a paper which was called Mediamorphosis of the Polish media system, a long-term perspective. I was trying to analyze the changes in the history of Polish media since last 500 years. It is enough long-term, which shows that politics and has always influence of what is happening with the media. Of course, our history was very much complicated. At the moment, we are experiencing the longest term of having a free media, because it is difficult to say that we have a free media during the communist time, or of course not during the Nazi occupation, or when we were partitioned into free countries for 123 years. The period between war was only 20 years. But relating to the current experience, I say that of course it is always a certain mix of the expectation of being independent and being independent as an editor, as a broadcaster, as an editor, and the pressure of politics, which is particularly well seen in the case of public media. Because public media, in the opinion of some politics, gives them a kind of the mandate to intervene. I don't think so that is the right approach. Nevertheless, it is that our experience shows that during the last years, let me say 2016, 2023, we saw that politicians are able to grab the public media and subordinate it to their expectation of their propaganda. So maybe the newly prepared or being prepared Broadcasting Act, which provides certain new solutions concerning establishing of the authorities in the public media. I think about supervisory board and managing boards. Maybe that a little bit changed the situation. It is one of the, in my opinion, very important solution is the certain division between the being a chairman or CEO of the public media and being a chief editor. These two roles will be separate. And the chief editor will be to a certain extent dependent of the position of the programming council, which consists from the representative of the civic society, mainly, not politicians. So maybe that gives a certain opportunity to protect independence of the managerial sphere and the content sphere. Well, we see how it will be. I'm also usually, by my life, I am always optimistic.
Optimistic.
But not naive.
Okay. Okay. Professor, you deal with media management from the academic, political perspective. How do the academic, political perspective differ from each other in the context of media management? What is different if it comes to political layer, academic layer, and journalistic layer if it comes to management media?
Well, it's a very good question because just taking my first research on media management and when I wrote a book, I think how see I my career? I say that if I will be only a theoretic, it has a very, it has a limited sense. If I will be only a practitioner, it's not sufficient. So combined together, one person said that there is no best practice than good theory, and there is not good theory as a good practice. If those two spheres that doesn't cooperate each other, and they doesn't exchange the values, the views, the experience, the cases, so Science itself has, in this case, a rather limited sense. It should be, it should be together. I have this happiness to be both, to be practitioner and to some extent also making some theoretical works. I think that this is the best way. We should combine together. There was a discussion during our conference about the role of the academy and the practice. I don't suppose any contradictions. We should cooperate. The problem is that sometimes we have very different tasks. Academics want to make, let's say, next level of the academic career, and they propose the topic or the problems which are important for them, but they are not important for practitioners. Practitioners sometimes are waiting for, expecting something which will be more useful for them. So that is maybe less interesting for the academics. So we should find the good solution and finding something in between, because as I told that the management or media management is something between creativity and business. The creative work is not itself; it is also a business. But we shouldn't that one of the side is absolutely dominating. We should find a good compromise.
The last question, Professor. You are the participant of one of the first World Media Economics and Management conferences. You have some memories from that time. Could you compare? How was it and how is it right now?
Oh yes, I was talking about this because I was attending the first Media Economics conference, which was held on the ferry, which was called...
On the ferry?
On the ferry.
Oh.
It was a ferry named Cinderella. And that was a ferry between Helsinki and Stockholm, and it was in the mid-90s. And during this conference, it was like less than 40 person. And for the first time, I achieved that we formulate a kind of the community, researchers community. What was interesting for me that on those conferences, there were representative of the two basic, let me say, stream of science. The first is the political economy of communication. And on the conference was present Professor Nicholas Garnham. It is absolutely crucial person in the political economy of communication. And on the other side, it was very well known and being a friend of many participants of this conference, Professor Robert Pickard, who is much more concentrated on the microeconomic approach. And we can talk between this political economy and the microeconomy. We think about the same, the society, the media, and the business. But nevertheless, we represent different thoughts, different approach, different views. But we have a common object of interest, and we should exchange. And I feel at the moment that it is very important to watch not only on this microeconomic side, on a strict business, but also see a certain deeper consequences for the society. And this view is much more relevant to the political economy, when we see consequences for the society in the long term, not just the current one.
I'm trying to imagine the conference on the ferry.
It was a very nice conference.
Yeah.
I tell you that was, I was living on the 11th floor, because it's a real ferry, big ferry.
Yeah, big ferry.
It was not small ferry.
Yeah, on the sea.
It was big ferry. And I was there in the room with the professor from Norway, who gave me his book about civic society. And what was interesting that he was at the moment quite an old man. I suppose that more than 80 years. And he explained me, because he has something on his face, he explained me that he was just going on the ski with his wife, and unfortunately on the 27th kilometer he fall down into bush. I say, oh my God, he's 80 years and he's able to ski 27 kilometers. For me it was something incredible, but that was a funny anecdote from those time. And yes, I read his book, which is a very interesting about the civil society. So-
Let's hope that the participants of our conference will have also very nice memories. Thank you very much for this very nice conversation.
I
Professor.
only want to add that I'm
Okay.
really happy that the conference is in Warsaw.
Yeah.
I never imagined that it is possible, but I take part in some conferences. I was in New York, in London, in Cape Town, in several other cities, but not in all the conferences. But I am really happy, and I want to say that, in my opinion, it looks very good.
Yeah.
That we prepared it very good, and Anna is absolutely great organizer.
Yeah, I
Thank
think
you very
we have
much.
the success.
Thank you for your
Thank
welcome.
you very much.
Thank you. Dziękuję.
Thank you. Dziękuję. We are waiting. Right now, I have the privilege to present Professor Leona Achtenhagen. It's very nice to have you in our television conference studio. Professor, I'll introduce you. You work in a business. You are professor in a business administration focused on entrepreneurship and business development. You are also a director of the Media Management and Transformation Center. Professor Achtenhagen is also editor-in-chief of the Journal of the Media Business Studies. Oof, I managed. Okay, let's start with the first question. What are the most serious challenges for an editor-in-chief of a scientific journal today? What have changed recently? Do you have any policy on AI?
Okay, that was quite a few questions in one, right?
Yeah.
So as you're already prompting me towards AI, obviously we expect to see major challenges there. And I think we're just at the very beginning. So to start with your question regarding AI policy, the Journal of Media Business Studies is published by Taylor & Francis. And Taylor & Francis has an AI policy that is valid for the different journals, and then some of the journals have sort of rules that go beyond that, but we are for now following their AI policy. Now the thing is, if you ask me what kind of changes, challenges I'm expecting, I'm now, and this is a very recent development, that it is very evident that some journal submissions are very much based on generative AI, where I've had a few submissions that where it was not evident that actually there was still too much human creativity involved. And obviously that's a challenge that we will see more of in the future, not only when it comes to writing the papers, but even when it comes to the data side, where you know, how can you still know that data is not fabricated and that kind of stuff. So I do think that we're at the very beginning of a development there, and yeah, I don't know how this will play out.
Let's hope it will be okay. Okay, the second question. From your perspective, what is the role of scientific associations? How do these associations help scientists?
For me, there's a very important, it's a very important part of actually developing an academic field. And I think scientific communities are an important forum to actually advance an academic field, and media business studies, media management is quite a new field. So I think that it plays an important role, not just for community to come together to jointly contribute to developing the field. It also is very important to actually legitimate the field, because you know you can jointly obviously achieve more than individual people alone. It's a great forum to learn from each other, to develop new ideas, to collaborate, to actually have a great platform to meet potential new collaborators. So I think it plays a very important role in developing this field.
And what should such conferences like ours provide? Is there any other purpose than scientific?
Well, obviously it's important to actually figure out what might be new topics, where does the field develop in the future. Personally, I find the social aspect very, very important. It's you know, it's a forum to meet new colleagues, collaborators, make new friends, and I do think that these associations can play a very, very important role in providing such a platform where you look forward to going back, because you're meeting your colleagues, you're meeting your friends, and you can develop new project ideas together, and in that way work for developing the field. And That's why I think it's great fun to
Yeah.
attend this kind of conferences.
Yeah, we cannot forget about the relationships. This is the most important element of this whole structure. Okay, is it the first, second, third time in Warsaw?
Well, I third or fourth, I think.
Okay.
Yes, and I.
And
Yeah.
right now, something new, something was surprising for you this time, or not?
Well, yeah, I think it's a great place. I think it's very vibrant. It's I mean, you know, walking here from the hotel every morning, I think it's great to see how much is happening in the city, like how many people are outside enjoying their time in the different cafes you walk by. Here in the university buildings, lots of students around,
Yes.
and I actually think it seems like a very nice atmosphere. And yeah, I have been quite amazed, and that has been the same every single time I've been to Warsaw now, about also the restaurants, the cafes, and the quality of the food and stuff. I think it's quite amazing to see. It's a very nice, very nice place to visit, and I really hope it's not the last time I'm here.
I wish you a very pleasant stay, the rest of this stay, and thank you very much for the very nice conversation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Right now it's my pleasure to welcome in our conference studio Professor Bożena Mierzejewska. Let me introduce you. Professor Mierzejewska is Associate Professor of Communications and Media Management at the Gabelli School of Business. Dr. Mierzejewska's research and teaching focuses on media management and digitalization and its impact on media organizations and media workers. She presently is the editor of the International Journal on Media Management. Great to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
What are the most serious challenges for an editor-in-chief of a scientific journal, especially in terms of AI?
So first of all, thank you for having me. Academic journals fulfill a very important role in not only in academia but also in society. So one of the challenges, even not related to AI, is to spot the important topics or spot good research, identify potential challenging research. It's not about repeating and confirming what we already know, which it's the easiest ways to do research, but finding something or actually contradicting or even challenging what we know so far and trying to figure out what could be a problem of what we know today or what can we enrich. The challenge in finding those is paying attention to methods, but especially AI is a tempting tool to go a short way, to write it or even to not critically think of outcomes of AI. However, AI is also a very important tool for authors, for scholars. I see AI as a partner in improving your grammar. You know, sciences or academic research is an international endeavor. And it's totally okay not to be native speaker. Native writer, writing in an academic way has its own style, its own rules. So that's where AI is very helpful. The other part of AI that could be helpful is kind of research partner. In here I say ideator. Hey, what is there, what I could find? So in stage of ideation, of looking what I am missing, is there any aspects that I'm missing? That is all very nice. The challenge that you ask for is how do I, as an editor, discern which part is human-based and which part and how much it is the collaborator, the writer, is taking over what authors, the humans, are doing. And that's a very delicate matter to discern. So that's one of the challenges. However, I think academics are also aware of it. So it's not that a bit like students, you know, you kind of see the most of the emails, for example, written by students. You know, that's I think academics are totally aware of opportunities and also of risks. So this danger I see, it's more of a hypothetical. I didn't really see yet any paper that came to me that is totally AI generated. Okay, so that's the hopeful in me says as academic and scholars, many people can self-control. Although I'm not saying it's gonna be like this all the time. The AI is getting better. So that's probably one of those. How do we know which part is written or is a human contribution and which part is AI model who is generating or actually hallucinated?
Okay, so you are not afraid of this artificial intelligence
actually,
in this
no, I am actually
area.
very curious and intrigued how it could enhance of what we do. As academics, and as every human, we have biases. We tend to go to things we know and afraid of things we don't know. And even giving a draft version of a piece, we give it to our colleagues, but they also have biases, maybe different ones. Having AI as a partner of ideation and giving you completely crazy ideas, but you think, maybe, you know, let me dig and deeper in that possibility. It actually helps us being in our curiosity, gets us a bit triggered to go to a crazy ideas. And out of many crazy ideas, sometimes there's a valid trigger. And that's this trigger is important not only in academic research, but it's also very important in any organizations that needs to innovate.
Yeah. Yeah, you are completely right. I agree. Let's come to the second question. Does media management have potential today? Is this an issue worth investigating? What should we pay the most attention to in the research right now?
Oh, media management has an amazing potential. So it's a relatively new discipline. And we're still finding ways to understand. But the biggest potential in media management is that it's not a universal across the world. Media management research and research questions are quite dependent on a context. And being in a context in a, let's say, a media system that is very market-driven, profit-driven, questions might be touch different, and answers would be very different to the same questions. If you do the same study in a context of a country that has a lot of public service or trust in public service. So, and for that reason, it has a lot of potential to check. Is there a better solution? Are there some regulatory issues? Are there some solutions in organizational structures better fitted to one type of a media system than the other media system? So that's why the potential is there. The second reason of a potential is how audiences are changing. Especially, and I don't know whether it's common to you when you observe it, but many people say this younger generation is different.
I agree.
And because they are different, and we still don't know what is the thing that is different, but just the fact that they are totally social media born, I would say. We used to talk about digital natives, the generation that kind of was familiar with computers. But we talk about now generation that literally don't read that much, don't watch linear television that much. Their main source of relationship in terms of human relationship, but also source of information is social media. Many of it is algorithm driven. Not human choice. You should watch this. And their education is AI enhanced. So we have not yet studied that generation. But if you consider them our future majority of audiences for media organizations, that is the potential to, with what it means for traditional media organizations that kind of know the audience and user, how to react to, or how to prepare, how to serve the audiences that are not so trustworthy or not so even interested.
Yeah, they are not interested.
Into what have been offered by current services. And that is going next step forward. How you, as organizations, do we employ and use those new technologies? Will AI co-created content be more persuasive, more convincing, better to those audiences who actually maybe trust an AI agent more than a human with biases?
These are fundamental questions if it comes to future for the managers of the television. Fundamental
and because
questions.
they are fundamentals for managers, that is why the research in media management will be the helping them to answer those questions. So that's where I see the potential.
Okay. Let's jump to the question that is connected with our conference. Can such conference have any other outcome than scientific?
Oh yeah, the actually scientific outcome of a conference is, I would say, is less so than a human aspect. Because if the only scientific conference was about the science itself, we could easily switch to Zoom. We actually could distribute all the papers, tell everybody, why about you read it, send your comments, we could. actually scientific sharing that's why the journals exist. Because reading a deep paper, you need time. Academic conferences are more for exchange and debate, to being able to challenge. And when you listen to authors presenting it and ask them deeper questions, like, tell me a bit more about this stream of, or why you didn't consider that aspect. So that's the part that I think with COVID, we noticed how essential and substantial was this conference attendance. The second part of importance of academic conferences is getting to know humans behind the names you read, especially for younger scholars. That's where you learn. That's where you also network with professors you read. You never had the chance to. That's where you tell about your research. And if not academic conferences, when I was a young scholar, I would not have an opportunity to go to places later that I could collaborate. And third way of, maybe that's a derivative of the second, is planning a career. Every professor, every more senior scholar have opportunities. We need to breed young scholars and give them, at some moment we need to hire. Where do you get to know them? Job interviews, that's only the end journey of your career evolution, that job interview. Your job interview is at those conferences and those presentations. And I have an anecdote. Actually, 3 of the colleagues that we hired at Forum, Gabelli School of Business, in my department, the first time I saw them as doctoral students presenting papers in academic conferences. And now they are here presenting. And hopefully one day, I'm watching and listening and seeing who are the next potentials who could be a good fit, good intellectual fit, and good education to the positions we're going to have, or my colleagues going to have, and say, hey, did you see that paper? That is, so that's what I see the value of academic conferences, less of that, scientific than more of a human part.
Okay, thank you very much for this very nice conversation. I think there will be fruits of your journey and of your stay in Warsaw, and I wish you that you will find many potential co-workers in the future.
I actually see a lot of potential talent. It's not only for my coworkers, but also I hope others colleagues notice it, and I'm already excited of what comes out of in publications from those individuals. Not only young, also old, but there's lots of new ideas being exchanged in those sessions. So I'm looking forward for that too.
Great to have you with us.
Thank you very much.
Okay. It is my honor to welcome right now Professor Gregory Lowe. Professor, great to have you with us.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here.
Let me introduce yourself to our viewers. Professor has taught at the University of Tampere, George Washington University, Vienna University of Applied Sciences, Jönköping International Business School in Sweden, and the University of Westminster. Now he teaches at the Northwestern University in Qatar. In addition to his academic posts, he serves as a president of European Media Management Association and the president of International Media Management Academic Association. His publications include 10 entitled, detailed books, as well as 45 referred publications on topics ranging from managing media firms to PSM, and media finance, cross-border network issues, convergence, and so on and so on. Am I correct?
That's all, that's enough.
Yeah, thank you. Let's come to the first question.
Sure.
Does media management have potential today? Do you see this area developing?
Yes. The history of the field of media until the digital revolution was characterized by scarcity, meaning there were only a few television channels or a few radio channels or a few publishers in each country. So there wasn't much competition. And in conditions where you have low competition, the need for excellence in management is not very high. But with the digital disruption and revolution, we have now an age of abundance. So there are many platforms, many channels within each platform, and an increasing amount of competition, not only locally but also globally. Mm-hmm. At the same time, media industries have become part of a wider range of kinds of organizations and companies in the creative arts and the creative sector of the economy. So as a result of that, the emphasis on management competences, the abilities to conduct yourself as a professional manager, have grown in their importance. At the same time as the importance of the commercial side in media has also been growing, because as you probably know, for every kind of commercial company, whatever the industry, productivity is very much related to efficiency. Mm-hmm. And efficiency and productivity are pretty much a function of how well management works. So as a result, this field of media management and economics, it really is a fairly young social science discipline because of that earlier age of scarcity. Mm-hmm. It really, our field of research and education coincides with the growth or the explosion of media and the disruption of traditional media, meaning the more legacy kind of platforms like radio, television. Now we have so many other types. I would just conclude by saying that, though, the issue isn't simply about management. You need management. Management is, of course, a much more administrative kind of function in an organization. And if you have a situation where things are stable, then that's really all you need. If the environment is pretty much status quo, then excellence in management is sufficient. Mm-hmm. But in times of turbulence and significant change, you must have leadership. Mm-hmm. So it's not only about media management, it's also about how to exercise leadership in the growth and development of industries that have a profound importance for the well-being of society in terms of its political, economic, and social well-being, and obviously its cultural heritage.
Mm-hmm. So right now we have the big question about the quality of leadership. Yes?
Yes,
media
absolutely.
management.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What should such conferences achieve? Is there any other goal than scientific?
Well, scientific development happens as a collaborative body of work. Nobody produces really excellent work simply because she or he is a good thinker or educated working in some, closet or attic somewhere. It's because we interact with other people who have different perspectives. They come from different countries. They speak different languages. They have different areas of expertise. And we all have a shared interest in a common set of topics, issues. But the way we see those issues varies. Mm-hmm. Now, when we come together, the science itself, we're kind of reporting on the things that we're investigating, what we're doing. And that's important, of course, because in that we come to an understanding of what is the state of the field at play at this moment. And it changes year by year. But it's more than that. It's also this opportunity for someone to enrich the way I understand what I've been thinking about by telling me what they've been thinking about. And through that, we may find a kind of collaboration potential. And new things, nothing new ever comes from the same people interacting in the same way, at the same place, at the same time, on the same topics, with the same professional interests. It's always a matter of diversity. It's when people of different areas, persuasions, languages, gender, cultures, come together and share their experiences and ideas that something new can happen. So these conferences are about developing collaboration. They're about sharing the kind of work that we're doing. They're about advancing theory. They're also about discussing what we're doing with our curricula, how we're approaching education in our various universities. And they're about building those networks that are important for not only social relations, social professional relations, but also have a pretty important role when it comes to securing grants.
How do you assess the role of scientific associations right now?
Scientific associations provide a center, or we could say a center of gravity for the field. I'm sure that a lot of the work that each of us individually are doing in this field would be done with or without an association. But in the absence of an association, it is a more highly fragmented kind of environment. It's much more difficult to even think of it as being a discipline. It could be a field, but it doesn't necessarily have shared frames of reference. So what associations provide is a kind of forum, an opportunity for us to convene that is, of course, recognized by universities who have to be accountable for the money that is spent. So they want to make sure that what we're doing is adding to the growth of knowledge, developing international relations, and contributing to the national welfare, depending on what your particular orientation is. And so they can support and they can fund us to come to a conference like this. But without an association, it becomes much more difficult to justify that. So associations serve a wide variety of purposes, but the vast majority of those purposes are either highly practical or, importantly, social.
Okay, how to develop university-industry collaboration?
This is a very important, timely topic, and it's especially important for the field of media management and economics. In many ways, the kinds of work that we do, the kinds of research we're engaged with, are very much about engaging with the professional world. It's about investigating both companies at the kind of micro level, even you could go more micro than that, and talk about how management and leadership work in particular companies. And it's not only commercial companies, also public organizations like a TVP and whatever. It's not only, it's about that kind of sharing and developing of understandings at that level, but also about understanding the broad dynamics about how media industries fit into society, about the effects of media on the way people think, how they interact, how they perceive the world, and what are the social responsibilities of media which are actually managed. Right, which require a kind of ethical framework, in some ways. Now that means that there's a lot of tensions. There's certain paradoxes in all this. So one of the most classical kind of important paradoxes is the tension between culture and commerce. You have to make money, you have to be popular, but at the same time, it's not only about making money, is it?
Yeah.
Right? In some countries, like in the United States, the press is the only kind of business or industry or profession that has constitutional protections.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that, what we're doing and what we're developing, what we're building as a field and a discipline, as an international community, it has broad value. It has broad value not only for what we as academics, as professors who are teaching and researching, what we consider valuable, but in our efforts to contribute to the development, the advancement, the interests of the public to societies and to business, the economic prosperity of countries, but to do so in ways that have a proper regard for ethics, for responsibilities, for recognizing that the media are in fact powerful in their influences, not necessarily in a direct way. It's not like one communication changes everybody's mind, but it's cumulative. It's like snow. Every message kind of adds on top of the next one, you know, and over time, it conditions us to think in certain ways. So we believe our field has responsibilities both to industry, but also to the public interest, the well-being of society.
Yeah, this is very important. Media management nowadays, especially in terms of protecting this kind of terms in constitution. In Polish constitution, we have also the protection of press.
Right.
Great. The latest question about Warsaw. First time in Warsaw?
No, I've been in Warsaw a couple of times before, always in some conference related, well, not always. There was once I came with my mother and my sister, or no, my niece, my mother and my niece, and that was just a holiday, but mostly I've been here on conferences. But it's been interesting because the first time I came to Warsaw was probably 12, almost maybe 15 years ago.
And right now, any surprises?
Yes, and yeah, well, I mean, it's just, I see so much positive development here. I mean, when I came here 10 or 15 years ago, the kind of restaurant scene wasn't nearly as vibrant as it is now. I've been finding just absolutely astonishingly good restaurants everywhere I go.
Yeah.
And
This is something that many people sitting on this chair are underlying. Food, restaurants, constantly repeating this.
Yeah. I love it. And there's a lot of, you know, music is in the air everywhere, and you know, and people have been very kind and helpful. I've really enjoyed being here, and I've been impressed. I really do like it. I was talking to my wife last night. She's in Finland. Our home is in Finland, and I was telling her about the conference. You know, I check in with her every day, and I said, well, you know, in a couple of years when I'm finally retired and I have more free time, I think you and I should come back to Warsaw sometime on a holiday.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. I wish you a pleasant stay at our capital city. Thank you very much for a very nice conversation.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Okay.
Okay. It is my honor to welcome Ulrike Rohn. Great to have you with us today.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
I will introduce you to our viewers. Ulrike Rohn is a professor of media management and economics at the Tallinn University, Estonia, working at the Baltic Film, Media and Arts School and co-leading the Center of Excellence in Media, Innovation and Digital Culture. The time for the first question. Does media management have a potential today? Do you see this area developing?
Yes, absolutely. Well, if you ask me, I think media management is such a key thing to look into. What is media management? What are we researching? And at the core of what are we researching is decision making in media organizations. And if we think about what's happening in the world right now, what role media plays for society, how important it is that we have professional media, professional journalism, then decision making in those media organizations that are at the core of making media organizations sustainable, that we still have media organizations 5 years and 10 years times, is so essential. So the importance of studying media management cannot be stated. Yeah.
Okay. What should such conferences achieve? Is there any other goal than scientific? You were at the EMA CEO, yes? So you have the experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
These conferences have various goals. Like one, as you said, scientific. Like everyone presents their research, so we hear what do others do. We are kind of forced to, in a positive way, to bring our research and focus our, communicate our research, present what we do. We need to present, we need to prepare our presentation. Sometimes it's quite good to sit down and say, okay, now how am I going to put this on 5 slides or 6 slides, and focus and communicate it in the way that people in the audience understand. And it also helps, yourself to understand what you're doing, and it is very good to do this in this so and then so it's not just the exchange of research. What am I doing? I need to focus it, I need to communicate it, and I'm also listening what others are doing. I'm seeing an overlap. Maybe I can potentially see collaborators that I could work on. But then it's also, I think this is a time always to reflect. To reflect on our own topics, research, and then it's also to see what is relevant out there. What are the topics that people are speaking about? And this is also why it's so important that it's not just scientific, but that we also have people, and as we had here at the conference, to invite people from the industry. So what really matters right now? So it's not just us speaking to each other, like researchers to researchers, which is also really important, but that we invite also industry participants and to see what are the topics out there. So I always enjoy these conferences as a time out in a way. So I'm here now for 3 to 4 days, listening to others, what are they doing, sharing my own things, and then it's discussing and reflecting. And then at the end of the day, it's also about seeing, and getting to know who are the others researchers. And there are not so many conferences out there that focus on media management, media economics. We have 3, 4 conferences, so we also know each other on a personal level, and it helps. It makes it also fun and enjoyable.
Yeah, fun and joy is really, really important. Not to forget about these feelings. Okay, third question: does the creative industry, film industry, react to AI? What are the pros and cons? And will we see films without real actors, with the avatars?
I don't think we will.
Let's
I think
hope.
I don't think we will. What makes people go to the cinemas is they want to see their actors and actresses. These are brands, right? They're actors' brands. We want to see, Brad Pitt or other, so many other famous actors out there. He just was the first name that came to my head, and I think we do need that connection. Like we go and want to see people that we recognize, that we know, especially because also many actors are also, we see them on social media as well. So there is this proximity that drives us to go and see. If it was just like an AI created anonymous actor, no, I don't think so. I think AI is completely revolutionizing a lot in film production, but not what we see, but it's more like how it's being produced. I think so. The workflow is changing. It's changing a lot. But what drives us to go to the cinema, the stories that we want to watch, and the actors that we want to see, this is not going to change. But how this is being produced, this is changing.
I'm thinking right now about artificial intelligence avatar in television journalism that I have my field of expertise, and I cannot imagine this kind of situation also. This is unacceptable. I think in Poland, I don't know the specificity in different European countries, or maybe something else people think, for example, in North America. But in Poland, I think it would be the real problem with this kind of appearance and artificial intelligence avatars that are giving people the information on TV.
I can maybe imagine that, like for the weather or for like the information about where's the traffic jam, like this, but not like a talk show, as a not like where there needs to be some personal touch to this, but maybe some snippets of things. I think I think there are these radio programs where you can actually choose what kind of person or what avatar or like in that case what voice, right? What voice should be giving you the news. It's a female voice giving you the news now, or the male voice, and what kind. So, but I think this is niche, and I think that will stay. But I think it will for certain genres, especially when they're short. Then I think we will hear AI voices, but not when it comes to longer programs and where it's just also about the human touch, the emotions in the program. So I don't think so.
Last question about Warsaw. Any surprises?
It's my third time here. I'm always I like it here. It's so no, there are no surprises, but it's surprising right now that the weather is not so good. It's so cold. It is so cold, and it's
warm.
It is already the end of May, and you're still wearing big jackets. So, but no, I really like Warsaw. I lived in Berlin for many years, and there's somewhat in the architecture, there are some similarities when you walk the streets. And I always make the point to walk from the hotel to here because it's a nice walk. And there's the vibe, there's something similar to Berlin, which I really like. No, I've been, as I said, this is the third time, and I've been really, really liking it. The food is really nice. Actually, we went to the nice restaurant yesterday, or any day, also here. So I'm also seeing that there is some, when we talk about restaurant and food, there is this traditional base, but it's provided in a modern way. The ingredients but it's upgraded to be like modern, and so the cuisine is, I think, really interesting. and really nice, like so interesting in a positive way.
Yeah, many
So-
people at this chair
Have
are repeating the same.
Yeah, okay, so we all like the Piroggen or like the dumplings and
Yes,
no,
yes,
no,
yes.
so it's really
Yeah,
nice.
it's
and
nice to
yes,
hear that you
Yeah.
enjoy the stay in
yes,
Warsaw.
Yes, I do.
Okay,
Mhm.
so I wish you very pleasant stay.
Thank
the
you
rest
so much.
of the stay, and
Yeah.
I hope we will have the chance to meet one more time, maybe in the future. Thank
Yeah.
you very much for
No,
the conversation.
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye. It's my honor to welcome our last participant, last interviewer, Professor Paulo Faustino. Great to have you with us.
Thank you.
Professor, let me introduce you. Professor has a postdoctoral research at the Research Center for Media and Journalism of Nova University, Lisbon, and the Center of Teleinformation of Columbia University, New York. Professor was visiting researcher in several European and North American universities. Let's start our conversation. How do the academic and practical perspectives differ? Do they have something in common? Professor, you are a scientist, but you have also your own publishing house, and you are expert and advisor. Where is the hardest part, and where is the greatest satisfaction?
Okay, so thank you very much for this opportunity and the question, of course. Well, in fact, I had several experiences related with media business and media studies. Today, I'm focused on Porto University. I'm director of the Master in Communication and Creative Industry Management. And well, what is the hard part and the good part? So I think the creative industry and media industries is special because, well, of course, we have some business approach, but it's a special business because the people that work in the media and creative industries, they are looking for intellectual satisfaction. So is now because this and other issues is not so rational business like other sectors. However, today with the market pressing, with market force, the management of media companies today, they need to adopt market and marketing practice, management practice, like other industries. So it became more commercial. So this is a hard part of the business today, of the media industries today. Relating with the media industry, with the media studies, of course, the one of the objective in conference like here in Poland, this one that we are participating, is try to create knowledge for media companies, try to improve their strategies, their social responsibility, and understand better the transformation of the world and the market consumer. So is difficult sector, and the big challenge is look for sustainability of the media companies. So I think this is the difficult part for research people, for academia, because it's not easy to find a solution, and of course it's difficult for the media company because also it's difficult to implement sustainable practice. So especially because today the international platforms like Google, Facebook, they are competing with traditional media, and this competition is not fair.
Mm-hmm. How does the approach to media management differ around the world? Professor, you lecture a lot in China. You have the experience in that dimension. What are the cultural conditions in this area?
Well, in fact, I go often to China to teach seminars and to teach class. But it's difficult to compare China with other parts of the world, namely with Europe, because in China, media sector is completely controlled by the state. So everything is funded by the state. So because this everything is different. But I think China, we have two Chinas. Well, maybe we have more Chinas because there are big differences between each region in China. But we have a main two regions. They use a strategy, one country, two systems. So they identify two main regions, one more open to outside and Western culture, another one more close to Chinese values and culture. So, for example, Macau, Hong Kong, Zhuhai, Guangdong, they call it Shenzhen. They call it Great Bay Area. Great Bay Area is completely different from the rest of from the other part of China because it's more open to international culture, more Western culture. They have more business, trade business, and so the people think relatively different, and the conditions are completely different. There are private media also. There are private media, but of course.
But they are controlled.
But they are also controlled, but less controlled compared with the mainland, the other parts of the mainland. But I think we need to understand China. China is in big transformation. Is a big country, and sometimes it's difficult to compare system because it's a very big country. But I think China is slowly becoming a little bit open. One example of that is today they created a free visa for many countries. I think Poland is included. The people can go there during I think 2 or 3 weeks without visa. So this is a good step to show that China is opening a little bit more. But yes, but it's difficult. We cannot compare. It's completely different from Europe, from the United States, and the media issues is completely different. However, in other sectors of creative industries, they are implemented. They are less dependent from the state. They also depend from the state, but they have private revenues. They are trying to internationalize the other part of the creative industry. But media issue is other topic that is completely controlled by the state.
We will see what will be the next moves of the Chinese authorities if it comes to media. We will see. Okay, Professor, you are also a member of the Opinion Council of the Radio Television of the Portugal Public Service Media. What is your experience in managing public media?
Well, in fact, I'm part of the Permanent Committee of Opinion Council, and it's a very good experience because permit me and permit us to understand key issues regarding the management of the public media service. Well, the big issue today is how maintain the sustainability of public media service, and if must be 100% funded by the state or indirectly by the state, or some funds from the private commercial income. So in our case in Portugal, I think it's the same in other countries. The governments, they are pressing for the public media do some change, to do reforms and innovate, because of course the media sector, the media business changed a lot in the last 15 years, for example, and normal public media service is very big. They are very big companies. They have many people and normal old people. I think this is a big issue to renovate in terms of the human resource people, to contract, to have more young people, and but public service media still is very important, especially today, to mitigate some problems of private ownership concentration, and also eventual foreign investor in media sector, and also is a good driver. My experience in Opinion Council, it was also good because I understood that public media service is a very good driver, or the main driver in Portugal, to dynamize the creative industry sector, because they contract audiovisual production, they contract film production, they promote the creative industry. So there are some externalities that public media service they create, very important for the society. I mean, the impact of the public service media is not only the content, the media, the information, the pluralism of information, is also the possibility to create a new cultural sector, new creative sectors, and of course create jobs, because behind that there is jobs there with talent people, and we need to stimulate talented jobs with talent people.
Special role of the public broadcasters. This
Exactly.
is this is constant question, and
Yeah,
this is
in our case we have also radio, but the radio, of course, is a small part of the broadcaster TV. But is important player today. To me, I think today is really important to preserve the public media service, but also there are some challenge that the manager must to be in consideration, namely to renovate the workers and try to maximize and create synergies to do more maybe with less resource, because there are pressing. The states today, they are seeing to the media and other public organizations with more rationality in terms of management. So this obligates to rethink everything in the organization process, priorities, etc. Okay.
And with this very important thought, we will end our great interview. Thank you very much, and I would like to thank you very much for the attention and for viewing our almost 20 interviews conducted during our conference studio. One more time, thank you very much, and maybe see you soon. Next time at the next World Economic and Management Conference. See you and bye.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.